November 12th, 2025. A date that will soon be etched into the memory of millions. A sense of dread grips the Atlantic seaboard. Across cities and small towns, people anxiously watch the news, their faces tense as they brace for what's coming. Supermarkets are crowded, hardware stores run out of plywood, and the air is thick with uncertainty. Superstorm Orion churns offshore, its monstrous spiral stretching hundreds of miles, winds screaming at 150 miles per hour. The ocean itself seems to tremble under its power, as if nature is warning of the chaos to come. Unlike typical hurricanes, Orion is barreling straight for the New York and New Jersey metro area, home to millions. Highways clog with cars as families flee inland, while others hunker down, hoping their homes will withstand the onslaught. The storm's size means its reach extends from North Carolina to New England. No one along the coast feels safe. The entire region is on high alert, with emergency shelters opening their doors to those seeking refuge. This isn't a glancing blow. Orion is set to slam the coast head-on, with a destructive force unseen in modern history. First responders brace for impact, knowing the hours ahead will test their limits. The threat isn't just wind, but a colossal wall of water. Storm surge models show a grim reality. Coastal communities scramble to build barriers, but many fear it won't be enough. Satellite images reveal a perfect, deadly vortex moving slowly, promising hours of hurricane-force winds and relentless rain. Meteorologists warn that Orion's slow crawl will only intensify the devastation. The slow pace means a prolonged assault, testing every defense and every person in its path. Streets that were bustling just days ago now stand deserted as the city holds its breath. Officials use stark, urgent language. Prepare for the worst storm of your lives. Warnings echo across every channel, urging people to take action before it's too late. The name Orion, once a constellation, is about to become synonymous with crisis. Across the nation, the world watches, transfixed by the unfolding drama. The sky is deceptively calm, but everyone knows a battle with nature is about to begin. Even the animals seem to sense the tension, as if the world is holding its breath. The countdown to catastrophe has started. Every second brings Orion closer, and the East Coast prepares for a night that will change everything. What makes Orion so powerful? It's a rare, dangerous mix of weather events. Orion began as a hurricane in the warm Caribbean, but unusually hot Atlantic waters kept it strong as it moved north. A blocking high-pressure system and a deep jet stream dip forced Orion to turn sharply toward the coast, just like Sandy, but with far more power. As it neared land, Orion merged with a winter storm, expanding its wind field and adding the threat of heavy inland snow. The result, a sprawling hybrid cyclone, with hurricane winds and nor'easter size, a meteorological nightmare. This is a worst-case scenario for the Northeast. Before the first raindrop, states up and down the coast declared emergencies. Governors mobilized the National Guard, shut down public transit, and issued mandatory evacuations for millions in flood-prone zones. Police went door-to-door urging people to leave, knowing Orion's storm surge could reach 25 feet, unprecedented. Shelters opened inland, hospitals evacuated critical patients, and utility crews from across the country staged for massive outages. Emergency services prepared for days of rescue operations. Officials repeated one message: evacuate if told. This is a life-threatening storm. Memories of Sandy's losses fueled urgent action. This time, authorities were determined to get people out of harm's way. The region braced for impact. Across the coast, a frantic race against time began as news of the approaching storm spread rapidly. People hurried through their routines, each moment feeling more urgent than the last. Supermarkets emptied as residents stocked up on food and water, Gas stations were jammed with cars waiting in long lines, and hardware stores quickly sold out of plywood and sandbags. The rush to gather supplies was intense, with everyone hoping to protect their homes and families. Families packed essentials, clothes, documents, cherished keepsakes into their cars, uncertain if they'd have homes to return to after the storm passed. The air was thick with anxiety and hope. Highways clogged as millions evacuated coastal areas, creating miles-long traffic jams. Others, just outside the evacuation zones, braced themselves to shelter in place, boarding up windows and gathering emergency kits. Neighbors came together, helping each other board up windows and share supplies, especially with the elderly and those living alone. Acts of kindness became common as the community faced the threat together. Social media buzzed with constant updates, safety tips, and offers of help. Friends and strangers alike connected online, sharing information and checking in on one another. Community spirit shone through the anxiety, as volunteers distributed supplies and families comforted each other, drawing strength from unity in the face of uncertainty. As the final hours ticked away, coastal towns emptied. Streets once bustling with activity grew silent, buildings boarded up, and neighborhoods waited in eerie stillness for what was to come. The wind picked up, waves crashed harder against the shore, and the sky turned an ominous shade of gray. Preparations were complete. Now, nature would take its course. The warnings had been issued, echoing across televisions, phones, and city loudspeakers, urging everyone to stay safe and vigilant. All that remained was to wait for Orion's arrival, as families huddled together indoors, listening to the wind and hoping for the best. Night falls over New York, and the city braces for the unimaginable. Orion, a monster storm, makes landfall with a vengeance, its arrival announced by thunder and sheets of rain that blur the city lights. Winds roar at 150 miles per hour, uprooting ancient trees, ripping roofs from homes and skyscrapers alike, and turning everyday objects into deadly missiles. The city's skyline is battered by gusts that seem to howl with fury. The sound is relentless, a high-pitched scream mixed with the crash of destruction. Windows rattle violently, and the air is filled with the constant roar of wind and the shattering of glass. Then comes the water. A violent wall of ocean surges inland, smashing through seawalls and flooding streets in minutes. The city's defenses are no match for Orion's power. Lower Manhattan, the Rockaways, and the Jersey Shore vanish under churning salt water. Iconic neighborhoods disappear beneath the waves, their streets transformed into rivers. Subways and basements fill rapidly, water pouring in and plunging millions into darkness. The city's lifelines are cut off, and the familiar hum of New York is replaced by silence and chaos. Emergency calls overwhelm 911, but first responders can't reach many trapped by rising water. Desperate voices echo through the night as families cling to hope and each other. Homes are torn from their foundations, swept away by the relentless current. Power lines spark and sizzle in the floodwaters, adding new dangers to the chaos. The storm is a siege, property destroyed, lives at risk every second. Streets once bustling with life are now battlegrounds against nature's wrath. Power outages spread from Virginia to Massachusetts, the only light from exploding transformers. Entire neighborhoods are swallowed by darkness, their only illumination the brief, eerie glow of electrical fires. America's infrastructure buckles under nature's assault. Bridges collapse, highways vanish beneath water, and utility poles snap like twigs. For millions, it's the longest, most terrifying night of their lives. Families huddle together, sheltering wherever they can, faces lit only by the flicker of flashlights and the fear in their eyes. The full extent of the damage is unknown, but everyone knows it's catastrophic. As dawn approaches, Orion's wrath is total, leaving a city forever changed in its wake. For those who survived Sandy, Orion is both familiar and far more terrifying. Sandy's surge was devastating, But its winds were weaker. Orion brings both, a higher surge and 150 mph winds, shattering windows and tearing roofs from buildings. The wind damage is unprecedented. Skyscraper glass shatters, homes are ripped apart. New defenses built after Sandy are tested to their limits. Some fail, but many lives are saved by better preparation and earlier evacuations. Orion's violence dwarfs Sandy's, combining flood and wind in a brutal assault. The financial toll will far exceed Sandy's. Orion proves the region is vulnerable to both water and wind, and that superstorms are growing more dangerous. Dawn reveals devastation. Coastal neighborhoods are gone, replaced by debris and shattered homes. Boats rest miles inland. Toxic sludge covers everything. Over 10 million are without power. No heat, no water, no communication. Utility crews face a shattered grid. Recovery will take months, if not years. Inland, rivers overflow, isolating towns and flooding highways. Emergency rescues continue by boat and helicopter. Neighbors share what little they have. First responders search for the missing. The struggle for survival has just begun. Orion's aftermath is a humanitarian crisis. Even as skies clear, danger lingers. Downed power lines hide in debris and water, posing deadly risks. Floodwaters are toxic, spreading disease and contamination. The ground is unstable. Trees fall, sinkholes open, buildings collapse. With no power, cold and hunger set in. Access to medicine is critical. The psychological toll mounts as survivors face loss and uncertainty. The true danger of Orion lasts long after the winds die down. Orion delivers a harsh lesson. Our relationship with the coast must change. Early warnings and evacuations saved lives, but rebuilding in the same places courts disaster. We must invest in resilient infrastructure, burying power lines, sealing subways, restoring wetlands. Strategic retreat from the most vulnerable areas must be considered. Community bonds proved vital. Neighbors were the greatest resource. Preparing for the next storm means smarter planning and stronger connections. Orion shows another storm will come. Being ready is our only defense.